It starts small, just a forgotten word or moment of confusion. Then it spreads, fast. What begins as a whisper becomes a storm inside the brain. An invisible killer is on the move, one that hijacks the mind and turns the brain against itself. This is Creutzfeldt Jakobs Disease, rare, mysterious, and always fatal. CJD sounds like science fiction, a deadly brain disease lurking in silence, striking without warning, but it's real and it's terrifying. The story begins in the early 1920s when two German doctors, Hans Creutzfeldt and Alfons Jacob, saw seemingly healthy patients suddenly developing dementia and paralyzation, completely out of the blue. Not knowing the cause of this, they determined this disease a slow virus. Fast forward to 1982, American neuroscientist Stanley Prusiner published a groundbreaking discovery that would change the course of medical history. While investigating diseases such as scrapie and CJD, Prusiner identified an unusual culprit, a misfolded protein. Through further investigation, he found that these proteins can force normal proteins in the brain to misfold as well. Ultimately, in 1997, Prusiner would go on to win the Nobel Prize for his discovery, naming it prion. As of now, the chance of developing CJD is 1 in a million, but if you do, there are 3 main types of CJD that you can develop. Sporadic CJD, which randomly appears even though there is no known risk factors. Iatrogenic CJD, which is caused by contaminated medical tools, the rarest form. And variant CJD, which can occur when you eat uncooked meat of an animal, most likely cows. Prions aren't like bacteria or viruses. They have no DNA, no RNA, and no genetic material of any kind, yet they are infectious and incredibly destructive. Here's how it works. A single prion interacts with normal proteins in the brain, causing them to misfold. The infectious form of the PRP protein, known as PRP-SC, or simply the prion, can convert normal PRP-C proteins into its infectious form. It does this by altering their shape or conformation, which changes how these proteins interact. But that's not all. PRP-C proteins play a critical role in repairing myelin, the protective coating around nerve fibers. In Schwann cells, cells responsible for maintaining and repairing myelin, PRP proteins are essential for activating repair mechanisms. When these proteins are damaged or converted into prions, they lose their ability to repair myelin. A lack of functional PRP proteins leads to demyelinization, the loss of this protective coating, which disrupts nerve function. In humans, this process contributes to the devastating effects of CJD, as prions not only kill brain cells, but also interfere with the body's ability to maintain healthy nerve fibers. As these misfolded proteins spread, they kill brain cells, and these dead cells then clump together into plaques, leading to tiny holes in the brain. Yet what makes prions even scarier is how tough they are. They can survive heat, radiation, and even sterilization, staying active in nerve tissue for years. CJD can spread through consuming infected meat, like cows or sheep carrying prions. It can also be transmitted through certain medical procedures. As Dr. Laura Manuletas, a leading prion researcher, explains, CJD can be transmitted by acellular human tissue products such as pituitary glands and by cell pore tissues such as corneas and dura mater. Transplantation of cornea and dura mater gives the infectious agent direct access to the brain. Some cases mentioned in the United Kingdom have been linked to this. This microscopic menace turns the brain against itself, leading to devastating physical and mental decline and eventually death. It often starts with neurological symptoms, small warning signs that something is wrong. People may feel unsteady, struggling to walk or balance. Speech might become slurred, and there could be a strange numbness or a tingling, like pins and needles. Some may notice dizziness or blurry vision, while others experience vivid hallucinations. Over just a few months, the symptoms escalate. The brain, under attack, struggles to keep up. Coordination disappears entirely and muscle spasms or twitches take over. Vision fails, speech becomes impossible, and even basic bodily functions, like bladder control, begin to slip away. The person's ability to swallow, known as dysphagia, deteriorates, making even eating a challenge. The psychological toll deepens as memory fades. Patients forget not just faces, but events, and even their own identity. Confusion sets in, accompanied by aggressive paranoia. Some may lose their appetite entirely, leading to dramatic weight loss, while others exhibit unusual or inappropriate emotional responses, laughing or crying at random. In its final stages, CJD robs its victims of everything. Patients become bedridden, unable to speak or move, and they lose all awareness of surroundings, requiring round-the-clock care. It's often infections like these that bring the battle to its tragic end. To diagnose, most doctors use an MRI brain scan, which can create a detailed image of the brain. Additionally, MRI can show organs, bones, and muscles or blood vessels. Then there's an EEG, a tool that records the brain's electrical activity. Abnormal spikes and waves in the pattern can be a vital clue. A lumbar puncture or spinal tap is another key test. By analyzing cerebrospinal fluid, which is a clear, colorless fluid that flows in and around the hollow spaces of the brain and spinal cord, doctors search for biomarkers like the 14-3-3 protein that could hint at prion activity. For inherited cases, genetic testing zooms in on one of the prion protein genes to spot harmful mutations. Finally, in rare situations, a brain biopsy may be done, directly examining brain tissue for evidence of prion image. But here's the thing, the challenge. CJD doesn't play by the rules. There's no definitive test. While someone is alive, confirmation usually requires a brain biopsy or an autopsy. Symptoms like memory loss, mood changes, or even MRI abnormalities often overlap with more common conditions like Alzheimer's, making it hard to pinpoint the disease. Now, you may be wondering about the biomarkers in the spinal fluid. While they are helpful, they aren't 100% reliable. The 14-3-3 protein can also appear in other neurological disorders like stroke or encephalitis, meaning it's not specific to CJD. And the clock is always ticking. CJD progresses so quickly that doctors often have to make educated guesses before their disease takes its toll. Understanding CJD has always been a monumental challenge. For years, scientists relied on animal studies to investigate this deadly disease, but these tests were insightful and often led to unclear results. That all changed with a groundbreaking innovation. Researchers have now developed a way to study prion proteins using human brain cells run in the lab. It starts with stem cells, unspecialized cells with the incredible ability to transform into almost any other type of cell. By carefully guiding this process, scientists generated astrocytes, specialized brain cells that play a crucial role in brain health. Here is where it gets revolutionary. They then infect these lab-grown astrocytes with prions taken from the brain tissue of CJD patients. What happened next stunned researchers. The infected cells began producing more prions, which then spread to neighboring healthy cells. For the first time, scientists could replicate the deadly spread of prions in a controlled lab environment. This breakthrough opened doors to uncovering how prions work and, most importantly, finding new drugs to fight this devastating disease. But as scientists work toward treatments, there are steps we can take to reduce the risk of prion diseases like CJD. Avoid consuming meat products from animals that may carry prions, especially in regions where mad cow disease has been detected. Healthcare systems, strict sterilization protocols for surgical instruments and tissues can help prevent accidental transmission. And while there's no cure yet, each discovery brings us closer. This innovative research isn't just a step forward, it's a leap toward unraveling the mysteries of prion disease and protecting future generations.